Indian TV is like, it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's why when Netflix came to India, they kind of approached people who were already making world class cinema, which was
Yeah.
Kashyap.
Though I don't like Sacred Games all that, I couldn't get into it. I will say it looks visually dazzling. Do you think that Motwane and Kashyap, do you think they were kind of forced to move on to a platform like Netflix? Like they could not survive doing cinema?
Like nobody, I think very few people know this, but Kashyap was. These are just opinions, so don't get offended, please.
Oh, switch on your mic.
Hello everyone. So this is Filmfaffing with Surya and Aarya. This is Aarya. I am the guy who was there.
Who are you?
The guy who was there.
So recently, a series released on Prime. It's called Jubilee. We're not going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the showrunner behind that show, Vikramaditya Motwane. He
Motwane.
is from India. At least he is one of my favorite filmmakers, and I have loved his filmography. It's hit and misses, but at least he tries different things. Like he's not constrained in one genre. So from Udan until AK versus AK, he's tried different stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Motwane?
So Motwane, the first film of his that I saw was Trapped, and then I saw Udan, and then I saw some of Sacred Games, and I think some time ago I tried to watch Bhavish Joshi.
Oh yeah, even
Bhavish Joshi, which is I think a superhero kind of kick-ass
Yeah.
type film, which I couldn't get into. And then I realized like Trapped
I
is
couldn't
still-
finish it.
I couldn't finish it, and no, I couldn't finish Sacred Games also. Sacred Games second episode of season 1, and I it was just not my thing. Like there was something very slow about it. That again, I don't know if this is Vikram's work, the writing, but
The first season, I think it was directed by, like, there was the first Netflix original
Half.
from India. So so first season was directed by, like, they took different timelines,
yeah,
but Anurag Kashyap and Motwane. And the second season, he was the showrunner. And there were two directors under him. One was Kashyap, like Kashyap was working under Motwane, and there was other was Neeraj Ghawan who directed Masan.
oh, okay,
So
okay, okay.
those two directors made the second season.
So the thing is that like yeah, as you said, he's very versatile in the types of projects he chooses. But the one that really stuck with me the most was Trapped, because I found that most relatable. I found that actually kind of scary, because this guy's
There's
trapped
buildings
in this,
behind us.
in God knows
Not
how
as
many floor. And yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
just looking at this, it's like, like just the door works fine though. Door works fine. There are other
And
people
the
here.
mobile should work fine.
Mobile should work fine. And so that film is in the survival genre, and I found it so well directed, so well written, acted, and it also resonated with audiences abroad, so much so that there was a recent film called Inside with Willem Dafoe that released just a month ago, and that one took a lot of inspiration from Trapped. They had to actually kind of, I think, legally cite that as as like almost an adaptation, because it's
They
a guy
did that?
so apparently, like on Wikipedia they did, and finally a writer had to address that. So it's different in its term of like its setup, but it's the same thing. A guy gets trapped inside and he has to figure out a
In
way
a
to,
metropolitan city.
in a metropolitan city, completely locked down. In India it's the more like cheaper flat, and there it's like a high-fi flat.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Trapped was my favorite one. For you?
Udan, definitely. Like it released when I was in my teenage years, again struggling through that phase. Not going too much into it, but yeah, like something like that. Because I was pursuing science, I wanted to be a filmmaker, writer, and coming from a small town, you have those tiffs and struggles with your
Yeah.
father. Yeah. So yeah, like around that time, that phase was going on. So I connected with that film at that time. Apart from that, I liked Sacred Games first season a lot.
Okay.
The characters were like, for me, they stood out. Everyone had their own individuality. Second
Alright.
season was not that great, but first season I really loved, and I was looking forward to second season, which didn't turn out to be that great.
The first season was based on a book, right? I mean, like it
No,
was
the
based
whole
on
season. Like, sorry,
the
the
whole
whole show.
series.
So that's what, like, the after that ended, after the second season happened, that's when I think the book got over, and that's why there was no third season.
Okay.
Otherwise, maybe there would have been other subsequent seasons. I don't know. But I think the initial plan was to make two seasons out of that book. But so again, talking about his filmography, I couldn't sit through Bhavesh Joshi. I don't know if it was his direction or, but one thing I really appreciated about Bhavesh Joshi was it was based in reality. Like, he was
Yes.
not a superhero with superpowers. It
Hmm.
was, and that's what I love about superhero genre, when someone tries to do that.
A vigilante.
Vigilante, but again, a human vigilante, not a superhuman vigilante.
Ah, yes,
Like,
correct.
that's why I love Batman also,
Yeah.
and mostly Nolan's Batman, because he's a human trying to do or trying to be a vigilante.
Yeah.
So that aspect of it, I was intrigued by. I loved that someone in India was trying to do that, but then story and I don't know, the acting also didn't
Yeah.
connect. Even the writing was too slow. The recent one, AK versus AK, the end was so pathetic,
Okay.
and I hated it. Like, we all saw it together, like other members of On
On
Black.
Black.
Yeah, we were so excited about it, and it was an Netflix
You all
original.
felt the same about the
Yeah,
ending?
we all four were like sitting together. Like, we made a room into a theater.
No, I mean you all felt the same about the ending?
Yeah, yeah, because it's it's actually bad. The ending is like really bad. I'm not giving spoilers. That's why I'm not mentioning anything.
Right.
But the end was like really really bad. Uh, and Lutera would be my second favorite in his films. Trapped
Okay.
would be third, because Lutera is, again, it's a slow paced film, but I love the way he kind of presented that kind of era, 1950s or 70. I don't know, like, I don't remember the exact period it was set in, but Bengal of that time, and then Dalhousie. I actually went for a trek to
Hmm.
Dalhousie after watching that film, because I loved Dalhousie, how he presented
Oh.
that. Again, I was
That's
too young back then.
yeah, but still, I mean, you
Yeah,
did that. The fact is, you did that.
yeah.
One thing that I like about, just thought I'd mention this. One thing that I like, or rather used to like about Vikram Motwane was that he would really space out the projects that he would do. He would like do one film and then 4 years later he'd do a second film and 4 years later he'd do the third, which showed consistency in quality in his movies. Anurag Kashyap also used to be like that, probably because he didn't get a budget of any sort. He didn't get funding for his films. But then after a point in 2010s, Anurag Kashyap became this kind of churning director where every year he'd release a film.
So with
And the
Kash,
quality kind of went down, in
yeah.
my opinion.
With Kashyap, what happened was, initially his films, he was making them somehow, like, that guy, I really appreciate about him, that he just makes things. He's
Yeah.
not waiting for a big investment. He's not waiting for someone to like push him. He's just out there making films guerrilla style.
Yeah.
So 2009, when Devdi released, that was the first film of his which kind of had a proper release. So before that, there was no smoking. I think that was the only film that released, but then it didn't get good
Yeah.
reviews. Black Friday, Paanch, they never released. Actually, never released.
Black Friday released 4 or 5 years
Yeah,
after, but not in India.
2007. Not in India, that too.
Yeah.
So when Devdi released, it got great response.
Okay.
So around that time itself, then Gulal released, which he had been shooting for the past 7-8 years. He had been going to Jaipur every Diwali, because then he won't have to spend on lighting, because the city would be lit up.
Oh.
So he would take a crew, a
Okay.
small crew, every year during Diwali, and he would just shoot during Diwali so that he doesn't have to spend on lighting. That's how like Jugadu a filmmaker he is. But after that, after I think after this thing Devdi,
Yeah.
he started getting funding from like investors, and then Gangs of Wasipur came out. It also made decent kind of money.
Yeah.
And then Ugly, again, he was trying to make it for a long time. It wasn't getting a proper release. There was some tiff with uh, censor board also regarding like placement of disclaimer that smoking is injurious to health. It's like, I'm not putting it.
Hmm.
So for that, initially I think the release was planned for 2012, but he was fighting a case that I don't want to put it anywhere in my film because it's so distracting. But then eventually, I don't know what happened, but it released in 2014, and then 2015, his biggest production, Bombay Bullet, came out, which didn't
Yeah,
work.
we know about it.
So,
Yeah.
so Kashyap kind of, and now also the kind of struggles he's kind of facing, he's having, since Mukkabaz and all of these. Like again, he's very political in his
Raman
opinion, right?
Raghav 2.0.
Yeah. So because he's so political in his views, he doesn't like, even Netflix is not like, they want to work with him, but then they also know that, like, they will face a lot of flack and there will be unnecessary controversy, and
Hmm.
maybe releases will be halted and all that, and that's why Netflix is right now not working with him, and he knows that. And that's why the kind of film that he's making right now, they're not they don't have that political nature, but like on the face of it, but
Right.
undertones are always political. Like even the recent film that he made, Almost Pyar with DJ Mohabbat,
Okay.
it looks like a romantic film, but I saw it and I was like, okay, there are hints of, like political statements being made and all that.
He did a film with Abhishek Bachchan also that got a lot of
Man Marzi, yeah.
Yes.
But that was again through, can't say studio, but it was someone else's production. It wasn't, he was just brought on to direct that film. So the thing was, with that film, someone else was directing it. The producer, Anand L. Rai, he wasn't happy with the direction. Like after a few days of shoot, he's halted that shoot, and then he asked Kashyap to make that film. After
Oh,
after some chunk had already been shot,
okay.
he wasn't happy with with what was being shot. But let's get back to
One,
Motwane.
yeah, so I just suddenly thought of something about Motwane and Kashyap. Is that they really took Indian cinema, Bollywood cinema to cinema and TV programming to another level with Sacred Games. Though I don't like Sacred Games all that, I couldn't get into it. I will say it looks visually dazzling, and
Yeah.
it is very well written. It's extremely well acted. Saif Ali Khan, I
Yeah.
think that is his best performance in my opinion.
Saif Ali Khan, I would say Omkara.
I haven't seen Omkar, so
Please watch Omkara.
will
So
do.
I think, yeah, sorry.
Yes,
Let's not
no.
digress.
So, what I let's not digress. So, one thing I wanted to just mention is that they really did stand out because, so there's the International Emmy Awards that happen, every year and has been happening for the past 40 years. India made its first impact at the International Emmy Awards in 2019 with Sacred
Squid
Games.
Games.
Sacred Games was nominated for Best Drama Series. It was nominated for, I think, Best Director. And Nawazuddin was nominated for an Emmy
Best-
award, which
yeah.
was like unheard of earlier. And
Yeah.
and that same year, no, not that same year, a year after that, then I think Four More Shots Please was
Yeah.
nominated. And then every year since, an Indian show has made it. But it took Motwane and Kashyap's series to make an impact.
I think the major issue was with the platform. For
Okay.
in India, like Secret Games was the first original series from India, right? Before that, TV is kind of, like taken over by Balaji
Yeah.
telefilms, right? And you have no space because Kashyap made, like, nobody, I think very few people know this, but Kashyap was making an original show on TV. It was on Sony TV, which Kashyap was directing. It's called Youth with Amitabh Bachchan in it.
ये सारी जिम्मेदारी आप ऋषि को क्यों नहीं सौंपते?
ये मेरी बेटी तरुणी नई सीईओ कंपनी
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it got stopped, I think, after a month or something because
Okay.
it wasn't getting any TRP.
Okay.
So it's not like people haven't tried it. It's not like the TV that we see today, which is just taken over by all these daily soaps and all. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't like people have tried to break that. Back in 2008, there was a show called Powder. I think it was on Star Plus, and
Okay.
again a 10-episode show which was very gritty, very raw.
Yeah.
But again, even that didn't take off. So from time to time, people have tried to break that, but Indian TV is like, it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's why when Netflix came to India, they kind of approached people who were already making world-class cinema, which was
Yeah.
Kashyap. So it took a platform to, like, be launched in India for Kashyap to, like, find that platform to showcase his talent also, and even for Motwane. And now that's the reason, like, that's the reason, like, for international Emmys we couldn't send anything because we didn't have any platform, first of all, to release the content.
Okay. That's interesting. The thing is that like whenever we speak about Kashyap or whenever we speak about Motwane, it's very difficult not to bring the other one up into conversation, right? Because they both like work together a lot.
Yeah.
Either one is producing the other thing, or one is co-directing, or one is writing, one is directing the same project. And so I just wanted to ask, like, do you think that Motwane and Kashyap, do you think they were kind of forced to move on to a platform like Netflix? Like they could not survive doing cinema? Like, I mean, like,
Kashyap
theatrical?
for sure. After Bombay Velvet for sure. But Motwane, I feel the thing is with Motwane, he comes from a film family,
Okay.
and he had been uh, again. I don't know how many people know this, but he was an AD for Bhansali for Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam.
Motwane?
Yeah, and I think his mother was an editor, a big editor
Oh,
or
wow.
something.
Okay.
Like he comes from that kind of a background where since his childhood he has been going for these post production, to post production studios, and he's been a part of shoots, and he has been working long before Kashyap started working. So he knew about, like, he was born into film industry.
Okay.
And then yeah, they, like, again, his sensibilities, what we see are like, it's very particular. He wants to make these kind of films. He is not interested in making studio Bollywood films.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they kind of gelled also, Kashyap and Motwane. But Kashyap has had different kind of struggles. Motwane, they are, I think, very similar age, but yeah, they have had different kind of struggles. But
Yeah.
again, eventually they came together. And for Kashyap more so, it's, like, this is the only platform, because Kashyap has been saying this for a long time that anyways his films don't release in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So then if people are going to watch it through, like, download it from torrents or whatever,
Yeah.
then why not just go to um, an OTT platform directly if it's not going to release in theater anyways.
Yeah.
Because for them and for any filmmaker, I feel it's more important to reach the audience. If it's not even reaching the audience, then it's an issue.
The thing is that I just want to quickly mention something here, which is slightly away from Motwane for a second, but we're talking about filmmakers who have really struggled for like a decade or more and then made a mark. And so the thing is, we have, so there's this thing on torrent websites. So I've noticed this on torrent websites. They have a ranking of like the most downloaded films and all. And there are actually some independent directors out there who prefer, they know they won't get any distribution for their movies and they fund their films entirely themselves, and they try to put it onto torrent websites themselves. It's not openly said, but some of them have talked about it, and some of them said like, you'll only be able to find my film on torrent website, please just watch it. And some of those directors have, like, I won't mention names, but some of those have made it in the
Mainstream.
industry, because they've shown that, look, people have shown interest in my movie, check out this illegal site.
Wow, that's
Which
amazing.
is crazy that they have to do that. They have to make a film, fund it themselves, and then just give it to everyone for free. A full film, like, this is not just a YouTube video here. We're talking about, obviously a 90-minute, whatever, 120-minute film. And I just hope that's not going to be the case in the future. I hope people like, and I know that people like Kashyap and Motwane have really inspired a lot of filmmakers today to kind of just give it their all, even if they're not finding funding. As you said with Kashyap,
Yeah.
shooting in Diwali time, he did the
Yeah.
a road to Mahakali, where,
Last Into Mahakali
oh sorry,
was
last one.
first for was a proper episode,
Yeah.
shot for Star Wrestlers. Like, when I was a kid, it was one of my favorite shows. Like every Saturday it used to come, and it had like these 40-45 minute films from these directors who have made now. Like some of them were Sudhir Mishra, Tigmanshu Dhulia,
Okay.
Anurag Kashyap. Imtiaz Ali also, I think, made one film for Star Bestsellers, and
Wow.
it should be on Hotstar, so you should check it out. Like when Hotstar, I went on Hotstar
Is
like 4-5 years back. Like it was a nostalgia trip for me.
is it still on Hotstar? Has
It's
Hotstar
still on
removed that
Hotstar.
also? Okay, good.
No, it's Star. No, it's not
Oh,
HBO. It's Star funded that. Like it used to come on Star Plus at that time.
so now it's hot. And okay, cool. I don't know. I had to make a pun.
Yeah.
So I think we should.
But just last
Yeah.
thing, Jubilee, I saw 2 episodes until now, and it looks visually amazing. Story is also kind of, it's slow paced, but it's gripping. Because if you are interested in cinema of 40s and how it evolved from there, You should definitely check it out.
These are 2 episodes that were directed by Motwane?
Yeah, I think he's directing, like he directed all the episodes.
All the
He's the
episodes.
showrunner also, and he's directing also. It
Wonderful.
has been his passion project for quite some time, and he got to make this. So the
amazing.
passion shows on screen. Should definitely check it out.
Wonderful. Amazon
It's
Prime?
on Prime, yeah.
Prime. Nice. I'll check it out. All right. So that was our main topic for the day. Speaking about Motwane and his impact on
Indian cinema.
Indian show, streaming content. So we hope you all enjoyed that, and we'll see you all next time on another episode of Filmfaffing with
Said.
and Aarya.